A very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mahima Lal, and I'm part of engagement marketing team at Vired, and I'm your host for today's webinar. So as you all can see that we have a very exciting webinar today on the topic, the genesis of GTA, unraveling the birth of the gaming world's most beloved title. And before we move into the topic, a quick introduction to this platform, which is Vired, everyone. So Vired, everyone, is a premium LearnTech company, which is a part of the larger Hero Group, which is on a mission to not only reimagine the way people learn, but also to build a better and a brighter future for themselves. So we at Wired ensure that we equip our learners with the right skill set, the right knowledge, and the expertise that they need in order to find success. So before we move into the topic and into the presentation, a quick hygiene check for this webinar. So as you all know, you won't be able to switch on your mics and your cameras. We have a chat box and a Q&A section enabled. So whatever queries and questions you have, you can add them in the Q&A section. And if you have some certain engagement questions with the Vaibhav, you have a chat box where you can engage with him. So everyone, before we move into the topic, a quick introduction to Vaibhav. Vaibhav is the founder and CEO of StoryPix, and he carries 16 plus years of experience. He has developed more than 200 games, and he has been also awarded as 40 under 40 by AVGC. So a very warm welcome, Vaibhav. And we also have Ankan with us. Ankan is the subject matter expert for our gaming program that is offered by Wired. So I guess over to you, Vaibhav. You can start the presentation with a quick and a short introduction about yourself so that our audience also get to know you well.
Sure. Thanks a lot for the introduction, Mahima. Hello, everyone. Before we get into the details of GTA, as we all know, one of the biggest games of our century, right? I have a lot of things to talk about this game because this is one of my favorite games, and I've dug deep into the history of this game and how it came to life. So my whole agenda on this call right now is to take you through that whole evolution of how GTA came to life, and there are a few peak points within that journey that would make you think about your decisions of various design choices or various choices that you make throughout the development of any particular game that you're making, because eventually if you believe and if you trust your gut while you're doing something and you think that it is going to work and you put in 100% efforts into it, you'll definitely make it big. So just to cut it short, that's what we are going to talk about in this session. Before I go into it, I'll just give you a quick introduction. I think Mahima has already spoken a lot about it, but before starting StoryPix in 2021, I spearheaded Underdogs, and most of you guys might be knowing me since the Underdogs days. I also run a YouTube channel with the same title, where I talk about gaming industry, games, and a lot of stuff related to the business of making games. Been in the industry for 16 years, made more than 250 games, awarded more than 9 times internationally as well. But along with this, I just wanted to mention one more thing that is definitely not here. I've been a very integral part of theater in India, in Mumbai specifically. I've been acting and directing plays in Mumbai for more than 12 years. I been in this in the regional and the English theater space for a long time, and that's where my love for storytelling, my love and my passion for stories, or the way you tell stories, and that's something that I learned through theater as well. So being doing that, and that's where my whole experience of storytelling comes in place. And I'm fortunate enough that I'm blending these two worlds together today with StoryPix that I'm building. And StoryPix, just to give a gist of it, StoryPix also is a massive storytelling platform that we are building for India. With all the regional stories, and we're also trying to empower storytellers to create their own stories using our interactive tools on StoryPix. So yeah, that's about me. just wanted to get started with the history of one of the most popular game that we know. So the overview of this presentation, we're going to talk about four things: how a young team dreamt of something big and achieved it. Then how a small bug in the game gave birth to something we know is right now a multi-billion-dollar game. The third thing is how PR plays a very important role in anything that you sell. And PR basically does not have to be positive; it can also be a negative PR. And how did the team utilized or used this negative PR to their benefit? Lastly, making something amazing versus consistently innovating to stay at the top. And as we know today, also GTA is one of the biggest games that have been sold, right? After um, after Minecraft and Tetris, I guess. So yeah, let's get started. Talking about the beginnings, right? There was a company called DMA Design. This company was started back in 1984. Um, there were four founders of this company: David Jones, Russell Kay, Steve Hammond, and Mike Daly. David Jones usually, headed the whole creative section. So he was a creative director of DMA Design. Started in 1984, where these guys were quite young. But they only focused on software pieces because in 1984, when Atari and Activision was fighting for the smaller games on consoles, um, a lot of smaller companies came out of these two big companies. So people who worked at Atari left Atari to form Activision. Then from Activision, also few people left and started making their own companies. One of those companies is DMA Design, right? And these four guys focused on making smaller games for consoles and some software pieces also. So for the first probably 10, 12 years, they only focused on these smaller things. Then, when they were good at what they were making, they understood the whole space. They understood how things are shaping up in the gaming industry and how gaming is taking over globally with the rise of Activision, Nintendo, with the rise of the actual arcade machines that came up, and eventually in 90s, in the in mid 90s, probably 94, 95, right? They thought of creating something big with all the experience that they had of around 12, 11, 12 years. They thought of working on something which should be like a make or break for them, probably like a leap of faith that they wanted to take in the industry. So after making these software pieces and games for 12 years, and simultaneously when they also, the core team, the leadership team, also saw that there were a lot of 3D technologies that were coming up. We all know how John Romero and John Carmack, worked on this tool called Unreal, or probably Quake, when they were working on Quake and Doom during these mid 90s. So they innovated these 3D tools, 3D capabilities, and before that, simultaneously these guys are also experimenting with these technologies. So they came to know that you can make something 3D, and it's not just 2D anymore. So they started thinking of a concept which can use these technologies as well, and something which is big, and it's not just like an endless kind of a space invader or a shooter kind of game, but it has a story to it. That's how Race and Chase was written. So Race and Chase was a game that DMA Design, the core leadership team, kickstarted as a racing game back in 1995. So 4th April 1995 was the date when the actual the pre-production of Race and Chase started. Now the idea was to just make a racing game. while they were making this, the idea was to just make a racing game, but do something big, have a story to it, have some 3D capabilities into it. But there was one problem, right? The problem was David Jones. Now, David Jones, being a creative director of DMA Design, was a very hard to sell kind of a guy. The team had to convince him a lot because selling a simple racing game wasn't enough to convince David Jones, and they wanted to do this, right? So the team decided to, innovate on a lot of things in terms of the technology. So because like a simple racing game was a no for David Jones, the team started innovating on the tech side, right? So using all these 3D capabilities, 3D technologies, the tech team designed a prototype which had a city-like scenario in a 3D visuals, but it was also 2D, right? So if you look at it, it's 3D, but a lot of people who were playing games at that time were very familiar with top 2D engines, top 2D games. So they wanted to blend these two things together. So they made it 3D, but they made it look 2D so that it is relatable to the audience that they are making a game for, which helped them convince David Jones. Now, because of this thing, there was no game which had this kind of a scenario before, and this stood like a unique selling proposition for this company for this game. And David Jones got convinced because even if you look at this image at this point of time, when we know all the 3D capabilities of engines like Unreal today, it seems very fascinating what these guys have done back in 1995, right? The image on the right hand side. So they created this 3D kind of a map and placed it as a top 2D with that depth. While people play it, they feel the depth as the character moves. Right, so David Jones was convinced. I'll just check. Okay. Yes, Sibyl, the audio is good, loud and clear. Okay. Just wanted to check if the audio is clear. All right, let's move it. So with this innovation, right, with this kind of a engine that the team built, the tech team built, the engine evolved into something like this. So this was the start of the game, the racing game that they wanted to build. David Jones was convinced, the team was happy, and they started building this game. They started integrating art, and it slowly started looking beautiful, right? While they were making this, and while they were, in the middle of the development of this game, and when the testing team was testing out smaller pieces of this whole game, they started finding multiple bugs. One of those bugs was super interesting. This bug changed the whole game. Now, while these people, while they were making this game, right, the game was named Race and Chase. Okay, that was the name of the game. When the testing team was testing this game, they figured out that while the player is driving his car, because of some bug, what used to happen was all the cop cars in the map started chasing this player car automatically for no reason, right? But while they were playing this, right, they started enjoying what was happening, right? So you as a player and was chased by 5, 6 police cars. The testers started to, the mindset changed, and the testers started to evade the cops. This gave birth to a new kind of a USP or an engine altogether, where the testers reported this to the tech team, and the tech team reported it to the leadership team, and they eventually figured out that this is a very interesting feature that can be used. So the bug became a feature, and not just a feature, it became the most important feature of the game, where you play as a player and you do certain things in the game, and then if you do something wrong, the cops start chasing you. So the whole setup changed, the story changed, and then from a racing game, this game, race and chase became like a story based crime game where you are supposed to do things, um, multiple quests and things within the game. And when you do something wrong, the cops start chasing you. Then came a very beautiful um, scenario, right? When the DMA design team was ready with the game and they wanted to publish it, right? So while they were doing this, they with the very first version of it, they started playing a gimmick, of reverse psychology, right? What they wanted to do is they wanted to do the PR. They wanted to tell people about their game. But because this game had a lot of gore into it, a lot of blood, a lot of crime involvement into it, they put out an article saying that kids do not play this game. Now, when you tell something like this to kids, they they'll purposely do it. Like in a simple example, if you tell a kid not to touch a particular thing, they'll purposely touch it. They put out an article saying anyone who is under 18 should not play this game. The result of this article, and this article went viral, this article was put out in multiple websites, and at that time there were not many gaming websites as such, but traditional news websites which said there is a game which is controversial, and people should, anybody who is under 18 should not play this game. This kind of a news got out. And what happened with this news, the result of this news was the people who are supposed to play this game, they definitely played it. But the people who are not supposed to play this game, they also played it because they were curious to know what exactly was there in this game that they were not supposed to play. And this, I feel, is one of the most marketing genius that the team used to promote this game. Eventually, even I, like I believe any PR that you do for your game or your product is PR. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. And then these people used it very smartly to put it in the market, and it captured the eyeballs of everybody, not just the typical gamers who were playing the games, but also in a common household where people started knowing that there is a game that people should not play. And that's how it went viral. But this is something that happened when GTA 1 was supposed to come out. But there is some story that happened even before that, and I'll get to that in a bit. Um, okay, I'll take a few questions before that. Danish, in what engine they chose to build the game is that customer? See, at that time there were no particular engines as such. Every company, every gaming company used to create their own stuff. So this was basically built in very early languages that were used to code stuff. There were no engine that was used. People used to create their own stuff using basics, even like Q basics, yes, that style of sort of languages. Bug to feature, how without any proper algo, how come the car chase the car? Madhusudan, that's something that happened as a bug. So the team rectified it later, but used it as a feature. But a lot of things like these happen when you create games. A lot of stuff, a lot of mistakes probably in the coding section that you create probably can give rise to such kind of bugs. They used it for the positive. Usually when bugs come, you usually rectify them and solve them. Okay, just is it a pre-recorded session? Sarthak, this is not a pre-recorded session. This is a live. Today, GTA is made with their own engine, Rage. Correct. Rockstar advanced game engine right now. So Rage, talking about Rage, right? Just to give you a perspective, it's the same engine that's being developed over years. So they started with this basic things that they coded, and then eventually, as they released more and more versions of it, they went into 3D, and then they released multiple versions of it. They started calling it a Rage after Rockstar was found, right? So as of now, what you see in Rage is a construction of all these 22 years of efforts and innovations that they've done in the engine. Okay, screen is freezing. Okay. All right, moving ahead. One second. Okay, a lot of us today know about these two guys, Sam Hauser and Dan Hauser. And a lot of people believe that these are the people who created GTA. This is probably not 100% true. But these guys definitely play a major role in changing something very basic to a monster game today. So this is a story, and this is how it happened, right? DMA Design was ready with this game called Race and Chase, with this one feature where cops chase you while you're playing. But it had a story, it had a crime scene into it, it had all the things that evolved after that bug, right? So they had this game ready and they wanted to publish it. Uh, Parallelly, on the other hand, right, Sam Hauser and Dan Hauser, two brothers, were working for a company called BMG Interactive. Now, BMG Interactive was majorly into music. They used to produce music, they used to publish records, and they wanted to also experiment with games at that time. And this was back in 1998, 1999. They were trying to figure out what can they do in games. And that is where Sam Hauser and Dan Hauser came across this game called Race and Chase, which was made by DMA Design. That's when Sam and Dan started convincing BMG Interactive to get license of Race and Chase so that they can publish this game. So they, chased the leadership team at BMG Interactive, and then they made a deal to DMA Design. They got the publishing rights of Race and Chase, and eventually, after a lot of struggle, uh, Grand Theft Auto was released. Now, when DMA Design sold those publishing rights to BMG Interactive, where Sam and Dan were working, Sam and Dan took the game under BMG and changed the whole name from Race and Chase to Grand Theft Auto, which we call GTA today, and that's how GTA was formed. In 1997, okay, this is 1997, Grand Theft Auto 1 was released on Windows and MS-DOS after BMG Interactive, bought the rights. And in 1999, this is 1999 basically, not 97. GTA 2 was released in 1999 on Windows, PlayStation, and console. So it quickly went profitable. It was sold as one of the most sold games during 98, 99. And that's how, that's how BMG Interactive made a lot of money from this title. After that, Take Two Interactive, again, T2, that we all know today, has a lot of companies under them. So Rockstar today is a part of Take Two Interactive, 2K, Private Division, Ghost Story, Social Point, and a lot of other companies also are a part of Take Two Interactive. What happened was Take Two Interactive came in 1999 and bought BMG Interactive. So DMA Design sold those rights to BMG Interactive. BMG Interactive published GTA in 97, GTA 2 in 1999, and then in 1999, after the success of these two games, Take Two Interactive was very much interested in buying BMG Interactive, and that's how they bought BMG Interactive in 1999. With this acquisition, Sam and Dan moved to Take Two. When they moved to Take Two, they felt a need that this IP, this GTA IP, has a potential to grow really big in coming years, and that's why Sam and Dan together formed a Rockstar under Take Two, using all the BMG assets. So they had this company already with them, so they used all these assets and formed Rockstar in 1999. I think it was 1999, 2000 something. Rockstar also had a lawsuit against them for violence. Yeah, there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things like these that happened with them. Definitely. Great sessions, Dr. Durlav Tripathi. Great sessions with respect and highly congratulations to all respected excellency with warm welcome with respect and highly. Okay. Thanks a lot, Dr. Durlav Tripathi. Rockstar had a lawsuit. Do we get record video after the seminar? I'm sure Ankan can answer this after this presentation. Okay. I had one question. Dhananjay. Okay, there's a question. Can a non-Rockstar employee can use Rage engine just like Unreal and Unity? Kashyap, you can't, definitely can't, because Rage is a proprietary engine of Rockstar, and they will not allow anyone to, it's not available. It's very confidential, and it's only with people who work at Rockstar. So it's not an open source which or even available as a licensed version to anybody, and only Rockstar can use that because it's a work of 20 years and they just want to keep it to them. And this is the case not just with Rockstar but with a lot of companies. Even if you see EA Sports has this I think engine called Frostbite where FIFA is made. So FIFA, because also FIFA also evolved for 20-25 years now. They've been evolving that engine since last 20 years, and they don't want to give it to anybody else, so they have it with their own and they make games internally using that engine. Do Rage also make different games rather than making GTA? Yes. Red Dead Redemption is also made on Rage, as far as I know. Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. And Rockstar will use this engine for a lot of other games because they've cracked a lot of optimization into this engine. Hi, this is Vamshi Krishna. Saturday and Sunday class are there. What time? Okay, what Ankan can answer. What are the engines that you guys are focusing the cures? And okay, this is also okay. Ankan has a few questions to answer after this presentation, so we'll take it. Okay, moving ahead, just to, as we reach to the final few slides of the presentation, what Sam and Dan did with this is they had this one good IP with them, and they were thinking of, dominating the gaming industry with this one IP called GTA. Now, soon they realized in 2000, they realized that 2D has to go, and because all the games that were doing good at that time were coming in 3D, they decided to change this whole thing into 3D, and that's where the team started building GTA 3. They took like 2 years to build GTA 3, and GTA 3 has a 3D version, complete 3D version. Just a fun fact, you also have a top-down view in GTA 3 where you see it exactly like GTA 2 and GTA 1, where you get the feel of 3D, but it's still 2D. So they made this 3D game called GTA 3 in in 2001 and released it on 22nd October on PlayStation 2. Again, this game was a phenomenal success. It made a lot of profits for Rockstar in 2001, 2002. And immediately after that, what Sam and Dan wanted to do was create a legacy. So this again, I think after the PR thing that I mentioned, this was another masterstroke that happened in the journey of Grand Theft Auto. Uh, and this is something that that I feel is very important when you as a producer or a director realize the potential of the IP and you plan to do multiple versions of it. Planning it in a very uh, beautiful manner. Sam and Dan created a trilogy. Now, what they did was after 2001, when GTA 3 was released, and they had this 3D engine, and that's how the Rage started developing, right? They immediately planned for a trilogy where GTA 3 was like a millennium crime drama, all this dark uh, version of it. Then Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which was very colorful, beautiful 80s Miami crime drama. And then GTA San Andreas, one of the best in the series that we all know, that portrayed like a 90s California crime drama. Um, you know, so 2001 GTA 3 released, 2002, I guess, Vice City was released, and 2004 they released GTA San Andreas. Now this trilogy was a masterstroke because they created it in such a way that all of this can be reutilized in further versions whenever this grows. And that's how they started creating a massive audience on GTA. And in today's world, we know GTA is one of the most top selling games. The first game, the number one game so far is Minecraft. We all know. Number two game is Tetris, and number three till date is GTA. Probably would overtake all of these games in a couple of years after GTA 6 comes in, for sure. But yeah, that's about the whole journey. GTA 5 released in 2013. GTA 4 released after San Andreas. GTA 4 released in 2008, and GTA 5 released in 2013. Um, and it broke all the records. The day it got released, it made at least $800 million on day one. So it was kind of a record breaker in the overall industry. So yeah, that was the whole journey of GTA. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. I'll still take a couple of questions. I'm focusing on Unity. I think Kankan can answer all of these questions related to this course and the classes that Hero Wired, the sessions that Hero Wired is providing. Uh, does Rockstar uses procedural generation for GTA maps? As far as I know, Ahmad, I don't think it's procedurally generated because all the players get the same maps, right? So what is procedural generation? Procedural generation, you can take an example of something like a Subway Surfer, right? While you're making a game like Subway Surfer, which is endless, what you do as a programmer is you create pieces, you create certain pieces of maps, and these are like, let's say 1000 combinations of these maps. And because you want to make it endless, and because you want to give the user a feel of a never ending map, you mix match those pieces every now and then, you join them, you generate them in real time. That's procedural generation. When it comes to games like GTA or Red Dead Redemption, Witcher 3, these are massive big games. um, they are well thought. The whole map is well thought with all the missions pre-planned on those maps. So definitely not procedurally generated. Although the engine, right, the rage engine that they have created has evolved in such a way that the vegetation probably, and that's also not different for every player. While they are creating a map, they procedurally probably generate the vegetation or the wildlife that they want to create uh, in the map. But that remains there forever. That is same that you'll see as a player or I'll see as a player when I'm playing the game. For gaming, which software is used? Is this necessary for any coding? Okay. Um, I'm a bit confused in the question, but I'll just take it. For gaming, I'll just talk about two parts of it, two domains of it. If you are an artist, if you want to become an artist, if you are creating art assets, you need softwares like 3D Max, Maya, Blender, Substance Painter, Photoshop, probably to add the textures to it. These tools which will help you make 3D assets. If you are a programmer, you'll need engines like Unity, Game Maker, Construct 3. There are different Unreal. There are different engines which can create different games for you. So as of now in India, Unity is widely used. Unreal is also picking up because it's becoming very developer friendly now. In the past 1 or 2 years, we've seen that. So if you are a programmer, if you are a coder, you'll need Unity. If you are an artist, you'll need different engines. Is this necessary for any coding? I don't understand that.
Guys,
I'm
we're open for questions. If in case you have any questions related to the session that we've conducted just now, you have a Q&A section open. Please put down your questions there, and Vaibhav is right here with us. He will be helping you out with all your questions.
Thanks, Mahima. I'm Amit. I'm Amay Mehta, and my question is why Rockstar doesn't use Unreal Engine. Um, Amay, because Rage, the engine that Rockstar has created, is very much an advanced engine compared to what Unreal is today. This is an engine that they've built for 20 years, right from the days of GTA 3, 2000, right? 2000, from 2000, they've been evolving that engine, and Unreal, also started during that time itself, while they were making Doom and Wolfenstein 3D and all those games. The ID Software guys, John Romero and John Carmack. But you know, it's customized. A Rage is an engine which is customized for whatever things Rockstar needs in the game. So I'll give you a simple example. Um, in Unreal Engine, if you at today's, in today's world, if you want to create um, if you want to create an area with multiple, a forest, right, with 10,000 trees into it and grass all over. If you want to create this in Unreal, you'll have to actually design it. You'll have to actually, you can also use some tools within Unreal, but you have to design that whole layout. Wherein today in Rage, they have created these smaller tools within Rage, which will instantly create that vegetation, those 10,000 trees, in a procedural manner, in in a very customized UI that they want to add to. They've evolved that engine to that level as of now. Also, and on the other hand, they've optimized it. If I make this 10,000 trees in Unreal, I'll have to go back and optimize them so that they can run smoothly in my game. Whereas Rage right now is so optimized that they've already optimized it in multiple levels since so many years. So this is just a very small example, but there are millions of things that Rage does that Unreal does not today. Still, Tommy Vassett is phenomenal character. Absolutely, Dhananjay. And another question that someone asked here is, as per you, which GTA has the best story base? GTA Vice City for me is it's till date, the best game in terms of story. Which tool skills set should a game designer know? Um, See, game designer majorly works in three things, right? It's majorly in pre-production and production, but three things that he is supposed to do. One is visualize, create new worlds, characters, backstories, levels, stuff like that, right? So that's the part of visualization, and visualization comes with a lot of observation, a lot of reading, a lot of watching movies, watching games, playing games. The second thing is documentation. So when you design games in your head, when you scribble things on paper, you need to be a very good writer. You need to write that in the document in such a way that everybody who reads that document understands what the game is, because that document is called GDD, which is game design document, is a bible for game programmers and game artists who want to create, who are creating that game. So you should be a good writer, so that you can write the ideas in a proper way. And then lastly, in the production phase, you should be a good communicator. You should have a good communication skills, that you should explain game programmers and artists what exactly are you looking to make through this GDD. So I think these are few skills that you need to know. And then there is management. You should use tools like Miro. Basically, game designer does not use any softwares as such, like engines or softwares. It's more of documentation, Excel sheets, and storyboarding kind of a thing. My favorite GTA is GTA 4, considering the story and BGM. But sadly, GTA 4 didn't got much hype, and most of the time people forgot about GTA. What's your take on it? I think it's subjective. It's choices that people have. A lot of people love San Andreas, and it's the moment, the age, the happiness that you got while you played that game. For me, it was GTA Vice City. For you, it's GTA 4. A lot of people, the younger generation, is GTA 5. So world building, Unreal and coding Unity. Is it so? No, no, no. World building majorly is done on 3D tools like 3ds Max, Maya, and then coding is done in either Unity or Unreal. Nikhil, what's the role of data scientist in gaming industry? How can I leverage this or use special tech stack to enter here? See, data scientist majorly works on the analytics, the data, what games are doing good, what are the numbers that these games are doing in the industry, the App Store numbers, the Google Play numbers, the Steam numbers, what are the things that are making this game special, all of these things. Also, when you are making your own game, a lot of analytical stuff, the tracking of the metrics within the game, if the game is launched, or even before that, what are the metrics that you should, as a game developer, achieve. A lot of things that requires data. How to get into game development, or how to get a job in game development on your own? If you don't want to join any course institute, you should do self teaching yourself. You should you know do a lot of research, and do a lot of practice yourself. But I think it's very good if you can just do a course and accelerate your growth. GTA 6 was recently leaked. Do you think it's ultimately another good way to promote the game, or seven? See, Pritesh, again, that's we still don't know whether it was done purposely or it was um, leaked. That's what um, Rockstar is good at, the PR. So we never know what kind of positions we need to look for the visualization and writing. It's game design. It's game design. I have basic knowledge of Unity and C Sharp. I have used it for 2D games. What should I do more to get into game development as a fresh and get a job? Prasad, create a kick-ass portfolio. Uh, just make 4 to 5 prototypes of games. Put it in your portfolio, probably on a one-pager website that you create for yourself. Uh, Put those playable version of those games and go to any company. You'll get hired. And just don't limit yourself to 2D. Given today's technology and the new AI tools, how easy it is now to create a complex and engaging plot for a game with the tools we provide, game design, asking in terms of developing a mechanic and how do you think game? Prakash, it's very easy now, but again, you need to be very smart to even extract that from an AI tool. It's not about how smart the AI is; it's about how smart you are to extract that from AI. There have been a significant demand for GTA 6 and GTA 6, GT Online as massive player retention. Would official modding tools and support allow for Skype to be further extended? Modded servers like F5 and such kind of demonstrate that. It's happening since years. It's going to happen in GTA 6 as well. It often, usually it just amplifies the growth of the game. So that's going to happen in GTA 6 as well. Any book recommendation for game narrative design? As of now, can't think of it. But if you go on my YouTube channel, there are a lot of recommendations that I've given Deepak. Uh, Probably you can just check those out. What are the obstacles or challenges you face to be in this position? A lot more challenges and more obstacles than the success, I would say. Right from I started my career in 2007. Just to give a just 2007 was a time when people didn't have enough information on the internet. Forget about information on the internet. People didn't have access to internet. At that time, just figuring out everything on your own was a difficult task. So beginning with that, and then forming my own company, and c- convincing parents, convincing society of doing something which nobody around you is doing, right? Gaming back in 2007, and then starting your own company in 2011. That was the biggest challenge. So a lot of things, a very short time to even go into that. Nowadays, there is so much of competition in all these games, but how GTA stands unique because of a massive fan base that they've created for 20 years. It's very difficult for any other GTA replica to create that kind of a massive fan base, I feel. All right, guys, I think I would hand this over to Ankan if he wants to take over.
Thank you so much, Vaibhav. It was an insightful session.